Incoming transmission standby. Welcome to the Nod News Network. According to tanker tracking data, crude flows have remained above 3.25 million barrels per day for 4 consecutive weeks. Russian oil exports by sea rose to a 3-month high last week, despite Western sanctions and Moscow's decision to extend supply curbs until the end of the year, reports suggest. New on Tuesday. Bloomberg, citing tanker tracking data. According to the report, Russia's average domestic exports in the 4 weeks to September 17 increased to 3.34 million barrels per day, BPD, about 465,000 barrels higher than in the 4 weeks to August 20. In February this year, but remained about 390,000 BPD below the peak in April and June. The largest increases were recorded at the Baltic ports of Primorsk and Ust-Luga, as well as Novorossiysk on the Sea Black. The increase in exports has largely come from tankers with no final destination, most of which, according to industry experts, end up in India or China. Total crude oil flows to China, India, unknown Asia and other unknown destinations averaged 2.7 million barrels per day over the 4-week period. Russian crude oil exports by sea to the EU remained unchanged at 146,000 BPD during the period under review. Bulgaria is the only destination for these expeditions. Exports to Turkey reached about 220,000 barrels a day, the highest since June. The agency noted that the increase in Russian oil exports had been anticipated, after Russian Deputy Prime Minister Alexander Novak announced last month that although Moscow would extend supply cuts, the volume of cuts would be limited. Reduction will decrease from 500,000 to 300,000 barrel. BPD in August. However, Bloomberg notes that shipments have more than doubled since this change. Russia first announced plans to cut oil production by 500,000 barrels per day in February. The move followed Western sanctions, including an EU embargo on Russian crude exports. By sea and the G7 ceiling on Russian oil prices is set at $60 per barrel. However, the country has managed to avoid sanctions, thanks to finding reliable buyers in Asian countries, especially India and China. These 2 countries have been the largest buyers of Russian crude for several months. This has been the Nod News Network. Transmission complete.